the theory of ancient aliens and their traces on Earth. We are beginning our immersion into one of the most guarded secrets of humanity, which is hidden under layers of the dust of centuries and deliberate oblivion. Imagine a world where the official chronology of events is merely a convenient screen to hide the true origin of our species. We're used to believing that our ancestors were primitive hunters who barely managed to process stone and bone. However, silent witnesses of a different past are scattered across the globe, and they do not fit into the neat theory of evolution and progress. These artifacts and colossal structures require us to revise everything we knew about physics, history, and the cosmos itself. If we look closely at the details, we will find traces of technologies that even today seem beyond the realm of the possible. Look at the Giza plateau, where the Great Pyramids have towered over the sands of Egypt for many thousands of years. Official science claims that these monumental buildings were erected with copper tools and the brute force of thousands of slaves. But one only needs to touch the surface of these stones for logic to begin crumbling into small pieces. We see blocks weighing tens and hundreds of tons that are fitted to each other with a precision of a fraction of a millimeter. Even modern laser cutting equipment would have difficulty handling such a task on such huge planes. The Great Pyramid is oriented to the cardinal points with an error that is only a tiny fraction of a degree. How could ancient builders achieve such accuracy without using satellite navigation and complex geodetic instruments? Moreover, mathematical constants such as the number pi and the golden ratio are encoded in the structure of these buildings, which humanity supposedly rediscovered many centuries later. Let us move to the highlands of Bolivia, where the mysterious ruins called Puma Punku are located. Here, we find blocks of andesite and diorite, which are among the hardest rocks on our planet. On these stones, one can see perfect straight lines, deep grooves, and holes that look as if they were made with a high-speed mechanical drill. The surface of the stones is so smooth that it resembles a mirror or carefully polished glass. Researchers have found that many blocks have a complex geometric shape, allowing them to connect to each other like pieces of a construction set. This is not just architecture, it is a high-precision engineering solution that assumes the presence of advanced machines and drawings. It is hard to imagine that people in loincloths could create something like this using stone hammers and wooden wedges. In the ancient texts of the Sumerians, who lived in Mesopotamia more than 5,000 years ago, there were shocking details about those they called the Anunnaki. These beings are described as gods who descended from heaven in fiery chariots to bring knowledge and order to the world of men. Sumerian clay tablets contain detailed descriptions of our solar system, including planets that were discovered by modern astronomers only recently. They knew about the existence of Pluto and described Uranus and Neptune as watery worlds, which was confirmed only after the flights of spacecraft in the 20th century. The most striking thing is that the Sumerians described the process of creating man as the result of genetic intervention. They claimed that the Anunnaki mixed their divine essence with the blood of earthly creatures to create helpers for gold mining. This theme of genetic intervention finds its confirmation in modern biology if viewed from a certain angle. Scientists have long been struggling with the mystery of the so-called missing link in human evolution. About 200,000 years ago, an inexplicable and sharp jump occurred in the development of our brain and cognitive abilities. In this short period, by historical standards, the volume of gray matter practically doubled, which has no analogs in the animal world. We suddenly gain the ability for complex language, abstract thinking, and creativity, as if someone had pressed the button for accelerated evolution. In our genetic code, there are fragments that have no obvious ancestors in the earthly biosphere, which suggests external programming. In the mythology of almost every nation on Earth, there are legends about heavenly teachers and flying objects. In the Indian Vedas, Vimanas are described in detail, which were capable of flying in the atmosphere and even going into outer space. These texts contain descriptions of engines using mercury and powerful vortex flows, and also mention weapons that in their destructive power resemble nuclear ones. In ancient Indian cities such as Mohenjo-Daro, archaeologists have discovered melted stones and a high level of radiation that persists to this day. The skeletons of people found on the streets of this city lie as if death overtook them instantly as a result of a powerful heat stroke. All this indicates that in deep antiquity, conflicts occurred on our planet using technologies that we are only beginning to realize. Let us pay attention to the Nazca Desert in Peru, where giant geoglyphs and perfectly straight lines are spread over a vast territory. These images of birds, animals, and strange creatures can be seen in all their glory only from a great height. Why would the ancient inhabitants of the desert spend colossal efforts on creating drawings that they themselves could never see? Some of these lines stretch for many kilometers, crossing mountains and depressions without the slightest deviation from a straight line. This suggests that the Nazca Plateau served as a kind of navigation map or landing site for those who arrived from space. From above, these lines look like the runways of a modern airport intended for vehicles that do not require a long takeoff run. The mysterious Dogon tribe in Africa has for centuries kept knowledge about the Sirius star system that amazes the imagination of scientists. They knew about the existence of the star Sirius B, which is invisible to the naked eye, and described it as an incredibly dense and heavy object. The Dogon claimed that this information was passed to them by beings named Nomo, who arrived from this distant star in water cocoons. Only in the 20th century, with the help of powerful telescopes, were astronomers able to confirm the existence of a white dwarf next to Sirius. How could a primitive tribe living in isolation possess such accurate astronomical data without the use of optical instruments? This knowledge was passed from generation to generation as a sacred truth that cannot be explained by a random coincidence. In different parts of the planet, we find strange artifacts that have been called out-of-place objects. In mines and coal seams, whose age is measured in millions of years, workers have found gold chains, iron hammers, and even complex mechanisms. One of the most famous examples is the Antikythera mechanism found at the bottom of the sea near the coast of Greece. This device, consisting of many bronze gears, was a complex analog computer for calculating the movement of celestial bodies. Its technical level corresponds to the Renaissance era, although it was created more than 2,000 years ago. This indicates that high-level knowledge existed on Earth long before we are used to believing. The architectural similarity of pyramidal structures around the world also suggests a single source of knowledge. We see pyramids in Egypt, Mexico, China, Indonesia, and even on the ocean floor near the coast of Japan. All of them are built using similar mathematical principles and are oriented to certain constellations. It is hard to believe that cultures isolated from each other came to the same form and complexity independently of each other. Most likely, there was some kind of global project or common teachers who passed these technologies to different peoples. These structures could serve not only as tombs or temples, but also as powerful energy plants or beacons for space travelers. Many rock paintings in caves around the world depict strange beings in helmets and suits resembling modern astronaut equipment. In Australia, Europe, and Africa, ancient artists captured figures with shining halos around their heads and strange objects in their hands. These images are often accompanied by drawings of disc-shaped objects hovering in the sky and emitting rays of light. For an ancient person who had no concepts of technology, such beings could only seem like gods or spirits. They described what they saw with their own eyes using the language of symbols and images available to them. If we replace the word God with the word alien, then many myths and legends will suddenly acquire a completely logical and technical meaning. We must ask ourselves why this information is so stubbornly ignored by official institutions and the media. Perhaps the recognition of the fact of external intervention in our history will destroy the familiar picture of the world and shake the foundations of power. If humanity finds out that it is the result of an experiment or colonization, this will change our attitude towards religion, the state, and ourselves. We are used to feeling like the masters of this planet, but the truth may turn out to be much more complex and frightening. Perhaps those who created us are still watching their creation, waiting for the moment when we become mature enough for a new meeting. Traces of ancient aliens surround us everywhere. We only need to learn to see them through the veil of prejudice and imposed dogmas. Every megalith, every strange text, and every inexplicable artifact is a piece of a huge puzzle that we have to assemble. Our true heritage is hidden not in history textbooks, but in the starry sky and in the depths of our own consciousness. We are children of the cosmos who, for a time, forgot about our origin and got lost in the labyrinths of time. It is time to wake up and realize that our history began far beyond this little blue planet. Every new discovery in the field of archaeology or astrophysics brings us closer to the moment of truth. We stand on the threshold of a great revelation that will forever change the vector of development of our civilization. Invisible threads connecting us to the past lead to distant stars and forgotten civilizations that once ruled the Earth. It becomes increasingly difficult to ignore these facts as the amount of evidence grows every day. We are not alone in the universe, and our presence here is not a coincidence or a whim of nature. We are part of a grand cosmic scenario that is only beginning to unfold before our eyes. In conclusion of our study, it is worth considering what kind of future awaits us when we finally accept the truth about our past. This knowledge can become the key to new technologies, to understanding the laws of the universe, and to reaching a new level of existence. We must stop being afraid of what goes beyond the usual and open ourselves up to the great mystery of our origin. After all, only by knowing our roots can we find wings and return to the stars that have always beckoned us with their cold and mysterious light. The history of humanity is not just a chronicle of survival, it is an exciting odyssey, the finale of which has not yet been written, and each of us is an important participant in this incredible journey through space and time.